Okay guys, this is Soopa-Dave. Gonna do a little quick how-to guide on how to make ramps, floating objects, floating checkpoints. Real quick how-to thing for you guys. It might take a little bit, but I'm gonna try to get everything here in one video instead of having to look up 40 different videos on how to do this stuff. Some of this I learned on my own, some of it I learned in the game. Basically, I just set up, I'm in the creator right now, I set this up. We're gonna go ahead and start. One thing with checkpoints, this is pretty little off topic, but if you have a checkpoint here and a checkpoint here, use that blue line to see if people can see the next checkpoint. Because if you can't see the next checkpoint, people aren't going to know where to go. I've noticed that in a lot of custom races. If you can't see the next checkpoint, you're not going to be able to know where you're going. I mean, so you can also use barriers to help too. If you run out of checkpoints, you can use barriers. If you're having it go around this corner, for instance, a real quick, easy thing to do. Example. Obviously, they're gonna know to go this way if you have enough barriers to kind of point them in the right direction. So, I mean, just keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. You can just run a barrier around, or if you're running out of checkpoint. But you can make a really bad race by doing that. Another thing is locking cars. If you want to make a race with only a certain vehicle, like I see a lot of Sand King races that they want people to use Sand Kings, well then just take and go down to available vehicles. Take all the classes off. We're going to do it for like a Sand King. And just take every vehicle off but the one you want to use. That'll make it so that when it pops up in a race, customs will be off by default. You won't have to put it in your description. You won't have to do anything else. It'll be the only thing that you have. It'll be the only thing that they can pick. Making an easy glitch ramp here for the time being, right? It's something I learned right away. It's a good way to get a lot of air out of a short distance out of props. What you do is you set a ramp down, small ramp, you put it down, then you'll flip over to your machinery, it's one to your left, and you'll notice that you can't put it on. You got to set everything down next to it and then put it on like this. And then you'll flip to your right, and while you're switching, you're going to tap X right when you switch. You'll know when you get close, because sometimes you'll hear a little pop, and that means you're close, you didn't quite get it. Now after you do it a few times, you'll get real good at this. Another trick I use when I'm doing this is I'll line up the ramp before I start glitching it, like that. And then after a while, like I said, it'll pick up on when you're doing it, and it'll get really quick. And it's just a really easy way to make a quick ramp with the, if you don't, especially if you don't have a lot of room and you need to go up really quick. Do this here. There we go. We'll test this out quick so you can see that with only 3 ramps, we can get pretty good distance even with the Sand King. Now you can also use this too in other ways. The glitch thing, I use it a fair amount, and say you wanted to go over that rock, but you can't really put anything there because there's little objects in front of it. You can actually take your machinery box, or sometimes you have to use like the diversion sign. There's some other options here, but like to get over that tree, you want to make a ramp or a big long container over that that tree, so you don't have to worry about that tree. You can go like this, and you can glitch it to same thing, same process you were doing before, and it'll get rid of that tree when you do it enough times. There you go. Now you can drive over the top of it, or you can put 2 down and drive over the top of it. I do that one fair amount because there's a lot of the objects I wish you could remove in the game itself. But wish Rockstar would get us that update so we could maybe remove the trees and stuff. So you could use this area a lot better by getting rid of items. Another one too that people. Here's another one for ramps for the. You can make this is the way I generally do them. To make floating ramps, get them to line up, especially when you get comfortable with this way. It's a real easy way to get stuff to line up, is you lay the items down. Remember, when you're putting stuff on top of, trying to get other stuff on top of other stuff, do not forget to put it down next to it before you try putting it on top. And then you'll take and you'll remove the containers from the bottom. The ramp I'm building here is for a semi-trailer to run on top of semi-trailers. You'll learn that there's certain items have certain heights, and you can match them up with different ramps. Just for the time being here, no idea where that ramp is in comparison to the other. It's down the road. You can make any item float by stacking it like that. I'm going to show you here in a second how to do floating ramps. Okay, I'm going to go up that a little slower so you get a better view, better idea how that ramp actually works. Now you probably want to eliminate the gap between them, but just for this video's sake, I'm gonna leave it like that. So I'm gonna show you how to make objects float that way again. But I'm a big fan of the containers. They have a pretty good flat surface. You can do a lot with them. They don't have as many ragged edges as the rusted green containers. Set it down, pick it up. You normally would want to line these up a little better than what I'm doing. So that is how you make things float. You just build and then remove what's under them. Now, another good way when you're removing things here is when you do remove them, make sure you pull them out first and don't just delete them like I did. You can do it once you get better at it. But for right away, until you get comfortable with knowing what you're going to be doing when you're removing floating stuff, just go on it and hit X, and then you can pull it. Because that way, if you accidentally grab the one from the top, you can just hit O, and it'll put it right back. No, if you mess up and delete the top one, and you get some other item up there, it can be a pain in the butt, and you might have to start all over again with what you're doing. So if you just take and remove them this way, you set it down and then delete it. That way you're not, it's kind of, you're not having to redo the whole project that you worked on. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable. I'll just actually delete them. Another thing you can use these really well for is a floating checkpoint. Say we wanted to put a checkpoint up here. Use a floating checkpoint to make sure people are going to use your ramp to go through. Instead of having to build a bunch of things around here to force these people to take the ramp, you could just put a checkpoint up here. And this one is not going to be long. Where's my check? Way down here. Now, I have it on Sankings only, but normally you can fit 3 cars or your vehicle on a container of 3. This one isn't going to quite do it, so I'm going to have to build a 4th container. But for this video, I'm trying to make it so that kind of combined all these videos you see on making containers. Generally, now once you do this is one thing I've always done even with these. I don't just delete these. I might delete these here. But right here, it's pretty easy. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you just deleted this and accidentally deleted your checkpoint, you're going to have to restart all over again, build everything on the ground. So this is definitely where you're going to want to grab the item and delete it on the ground, because you do not want to have to work through all that again. So let's do a test run on this. As you can see, we got our floating checkpoint up there. I'm going to try to hit it a little different with some style here. And you can use that for finishes, stuff like that. A lot of cool races have floating checkpoints in them on the finish. And then another way to do the floating items is pretty simple. The problem with this is they don't always do what you want them to do. If you click on your left analog, it'll actually lift it right off the ground for you. The problem is it puts the next one up exactly on the next level. So it's pretty hard sometimes to get these to actually level out with each other. You'll have to do multiple camera views. For instance, this one looks like it's going to be straight, but it's not. It's not even going to be close. Yeah, it's not even close. It's a lot farther down. There is one thing that can work. This does work well for building floating ramps. This is the other way of building floating ramps I was telling you about. If you put it back down on the ground, we'll start from the ground here. This is a good way that you can use another good way to build them floating ramps. If you know you're going to use only a certain type of ramp, you'll lift the second one just slightly off the ground, and what you'll do is you'll hover over it and drag it across that one that you have on the ground, and it'll automatically lift it to the next level of height. It'll set it to the plane of the top of the other one. So you can go like that, and then what you'll do is you'll just want to do that again. And it'll actually should always set the next one on that level of plane that you want. This is a really fast way to build a good ramp. You're generally not going to get a ton of air off of them, but you can make them a long ramp out of these. Drive through the maze of the mess I had. They work pretty good. You don't have to worry about them too much. You get into some of the lower vehicles and you want to make sure your gaps are real even. I didn't do a very good job there, as you can see, because it'll put a little lip on the edge of them, and you can get clipped on that. Another good way to build a ramp that is becoming pretty popular now, it wasn't quite as popular back when I started making races, is the green ramps that you see all the time. The green ramps have a tendency to work better, use less props. I use them quite a bit. Here, I'll start building one for you. You can do this multiple ways depending on how big you think your ramp is. And just for this video's sake, I'm going to build a smaller one. In fact, that's probably all I need is I'll need one. You'll take and you'll set. I generally use a medium ramp when I'm doing this, but you can use pretty much any size. The ramp determines the angle and the steepness of the green container. So go to your green container, go over to the cement bags. You throw it up here. Now when I do this, I always put 2 on one ramp. And you will glitch it like how you do your other glitch items. Lined up real good there. And then you can take and delete these. Like so. Now normally you're going to want to line them ramps up better when you're aligning them, but I can fix these here on the next set. These ramps are more painstaking time-wise, but when they're done they look a lot better than a lot of other ramps that you can set up and make. I'm a big fan of lining stuff up before I glitch it. Otherwise you'll waste all your time in redoing all the work you did putting into the. If anybody's watching this video and wants to see some of the races I've made quite a few races. If you go on to Social Club and search Soopa-Dave, it should pop up all the races I have. I have a lot of ramp races. Not so many of the ramp ones with the hard checkpoints to get to. Most of mine you can get to the next checkpoint real easy. When you're doing this too, you'll notice your middle ones are still left here. You're going to waste your props if you leave them there. And you don't want to leave them there and lose out on doing some other cool things that you can do in your race. So you're going to want to grab the middle one and pull it out. Set it down, delete it. There you go. The middle one on this side will have a slight bulge over here on the outside. That's how you know where to grab it. Or it'll be slightly to the bottom, which is how I grab them generally. So I'm going to get rid of these items here. Do it one more time. When you start getting into the next level here, this next level becomes a little trickier. Like I said, there's more effort into these ramps, but they do turn out a lot better than trying to do the glitch ramp where you put the machinery box on it. A lot of vehicles have a tendency just to stop when they hit them other glitch ramps. When you're making the race and you know where you're going to want your jump to be, you're going to want to make your jump first also. Because, for instance, with this jump is going to evolve and move a little bit. Not a ton. But if I were to have started this out a lot higher up and brought it down to the ground from a lot greater distance, it would have moved. So you're not going to want to build up to the ramp. You're going to want to build your ramp and then build up to your ramp with your race. Now sometimes, if you're like me and you're not very coordinated, this glitching can take a fair amount of time. Now you'll see the gap here is not level. Not level at all. You're not going to want to hit that with a supercar. That'll stop you right in your tracks. So you'll take and you'll delete these boxes here. Out a little bit so you can see. Then you're going to want to glitch in there. Get one to glitch. There you go. So now it's level again. It's got a real clean, well, pretty clean edge to it. Remember how I said that one likes to hang out, that's hiding in the middle, that you don't need anymore? There's that little edge you can grab onto. So you want to pull that out, delete it. This side I always have more of a problem with. A little harder to remember what one it is. Should be always the second one. But for some reason I always forget. So you go like that, and then I would normally be putting this one more down into the ground. Because that's pretty far distance to go with a ramp. But I'm going to leave it like that for right now. But you're going to want to, every time you go up higher, or one level farther up in the air, you have a lot more of them containers to delete and grab and get rid of out of there. So it can take a fair amount of time. But like I said, the final product is pretty good with these ramps. So, get this out of me. Yeah, I can. Another cool thing you can do with these ramps, if you think you want to really a lot of height with them, is there's another idea or another cool thing you can do with these. That you want to grab that machinery box. You're going to want to switch over to the ramp. This ramp to pop up anytime soon. There we go. Switch over to the concrete. And there'll be one little area that you can put this thing. So you're gonna want to be careful when you set your ramp down. I just hit it. You've seen it flick. There we go. Then you're gonna want to flip over to these containers. There we go. Get rid of that. Set it down. Put it down like that. Find that little spot that it can fit into. Sometimes you can get it right away, other times you can't. Now if you put that ramp, that pedestal inside as back farther as you can to keep the ramp back farther, you get a little more space with it. That'll work. You'll get a little more room to get that cement bag to sit on top of it. Get rid of that ramp. You don't want to waste props if you can help it. You know what? I'm going to do another layer. Another angle. Okay, this is where we run into where can use another item. It takes a little longer time. That chevron sign you can use for anything. So you switch over to that, go left. It didn't work, so let's get back on it. Tap while you're moving back over your X. There you go. And go back over to your set it down and put it back, pick it up. Switch over to the chevron sign again. Drop it, pick it up. Oops. Back it up to the little edge. I went a little far in. If you do that, you won't be able to fit the cement crate on there. There we go. Wow, it worked the first time on that one. Move back over to your cement bag. I'm pretty sure I packed. There you go. Now this isn't going to be perfect because you see the gaps there aren't quite lined up. They're not quite lined up there. Didn't take enough time to make them, but still should be a pretty cool ramp. So I'm going to go ahead, Drive down. I'm gonna hit this. Even with a Sand King, I should get a fair amount of air with this. And that is how you get a fair amount of air right there. Sand King. Now, if you hit that with a supercar, let's change it a little bit, so you can actually see what you can get with that ramp. And you can even go a step farther and make it arc one more time upwards a little bit, and get more of a straight up shot. Never actually locked it on the Sand King. If you do like to do a lot of races with ramps and jumps in them, for the supercars, the Zentorno does not like to take jumps and ramps real well. So do not recommend that car. The Adder and the Entity seem to do pretty well. The Turismo sometimes doesn't like them, but that actually turned out pretty well there. These are pretty. Hopefully, I helped you with these. This video. I'm not the greatest commentary. I haven't done this much yet, but I do plan on bringing more videos and more stuff. Some other things I'm gonna start recording too, as well as I'm gonna show you some of the easier way to beat missions, some good ways to build RP, and we're gonna do a lot of funny moments with the crew. That's mostly what this channel's about, helping people and doing funny stuff. You guys have a good one. If you like this, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and have a great day, guys.